Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. Today's Daf Yomi is Kesubos Daf Pei Beis. We are holding on the 8th line from the top of the Amud. Hahu Gavra. We are picking off where we left off yesterday. A Yavam, when he does Yivam to the Yivama, he will now inherit all of his departed brother's assets. All of the Nechasim of Ruvain, who passed away childless, get transferred to Shimon upon doing Yivam to Rachel, Ruvain's Almana. The halacha is that all those assets coming from Ruvain to Shimon by way of Yivam are committed to her Ksuba payat, which basically means that Shimon, even though he inherits all of his departed brother's assets by way of his doing Yivam, but he must hold on to them. He can use them, but he cannot sell them because they are meshubad for his wife, the Yivama's Ksuba payat. What happens if he actually sold B'di'evid? Rav Yosef says, no deal. And Abaye disagreed. He said, B'di'evid, it's okay. Says the Gemara, Hahu Gavra. There was this fellow, the Nafla Yivama, B'mata Machasya. He had a Yivama waiting for his Yivam in Mata Machasya, in that town. He was the oldest brother who was meant to do the Yivam. Ba Achva Lemifsla Begita Minei. So his younger brother wanted to invalidate this potential Yivam by way of giving the Yivama a get. So he was a younger brother who was not really, the primary candidate for doing Yivam. So he goes ahead, or he wanted to go ahead and make the Yivama puzzle upon his older brother by way of giving her a get, as we learned in Mesechas Yivamas. If the Yavam gives her a get, it's like Chalitza, it makes her puzzle for Yivam. This way, his older brother cannot do Yivam. Amarle, his older brother turns to him and he says, what's the problem? My daitich, what are you concerned about? Why are you getting in the way of my Yibam? Are you concerned about money? Imisham nichsi? You're concerned that I'm going to take over all of our departed brother's assets? Well, no problem. We'll make a deal. Ano benichsi paligna lach. I will take the nechasim and split it evenly with you, 50-50. Don't worry. This way you'll have no loss. Amar lei. So the younger brother turns to him and he says, Mistafina, I'm concerned that this be. You're going to do with me Keda Avid, just like that fellow did. Keda Avid Pumpadisa Ramah, like that crooked fellow from Pumpadisa yesterday, who did the same deal with his brother, and then turned around and reconsidered. Went back on the deal. Rashi brings from several Gemaras that the fellows in Pumpadisa were not the straightest people. So I can't trust you with anything. Amar lei. So older brother turns to him and says, okay, I understand. But I will guarantee this deal. Ibois, if you want, Peloglach Mahashta. I'll make a kinyan and commit myself right now that eventually, after the Yivam, I will give you half the Nechasim. This will be a legally binding transaction by way of the kinyan that we will make now. Where I am personally committing myself to carry out this deal later on. So does it work? Omar Mar Baravashi Afagav Techi Asr Rav Dimi. So although we have a precedent to this type of case from a similar halach, Rav Dimi came. Omar Rabbi Yehuda, he says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Can a person make a kinyan now and have it sort of a time delay on it? Have it implemented later on? Reuven turns to Shimon and he says, Leich u'meshech parazu. Go ahead and do a kinyan meshich on this cow right now with a condition. When are you going to actually acquire this para? In 30 days' time. So it's a t'nai. It's a condition which is tacked onto the kinyan which is happening now. It works. La'achar lamed yom kana, he will be kaina when 30 days are up. Afilu medas ba'agam. even if it so happens that the animal is not sitting in the seller's property or the buyer's property, it's sitting in a swamp. So even though it's not sitting in the buyer's property, sitting in some random place, it doesn't matter because the kinyan was already made 30 days prior. I would think perhaps the case with the yavam is similar to that case. I'm committing now to a kinyan, which will happen later, after I do the yivam. No, there's a big difference. You know why? Hasam b'yadai. In the case of the para, it is within the ability, it's in the hands of the seller. He has the ability to sell it right now. So just as he can sell it now, he can do a kinyan now and have that kinyan be activated in 30 days. Hachalav b'yadai. As opposed to our case, a yavam may not sell. He cannot sell. In fact, the Gemara soon will paskin that if a yavam sells his brother's assets, the contract is null and void. So being that he cannot sell it now, he cannot go ahead and make this sort of delayed arrangement either. And Rashi points out, well, if he can't sell, period, then there's no discussion. The chiddush is, even if you work with a shita, a bias shita, technically, if he actually, was miyabim, got the properties and sold it off, the sale is valid. Even if you go with that opinion, still, currently speaking, at this early moment before Yivam, it's not biyadei to sell. He doesn't have anything to sell. It's not like the par that he owns, that he doesn't own his brother's property until he does the Yivam, so he can't go ahead and make this arrangement. Says the Gemara, okay, we lay that to rest. And the fellow from Mata Macha, it didn't work. But we're going to have a kasha within Rabbi Yehuda himself. Because we just said that according to Rabbi Yehuda, you could sell a para in this fashion. Do the kinyan now, be kinyan later. But when Ravin came, he quoted Rabbi Yehuda otherwise. Loikani, you cannot do that. Make a Mashiach now and be kinyan in 30 days doesn't work. It appears to be a contradiction within Rabbi Yehuda himself. Does it work or not? Loikasha, the answer is like this. If he says, look, make a kinyan now, and in 30 days' time, you will have the kinyan retroactively, starting from today, from the first of the 30 days. So, in that case, it works. But when he didn't say knima achshav, he says make the kinyan now, and you'll actually be kinyan in 30 days' time going forward. That doesn't work, because he didn't make a kinyan at the end of 30 days. So in the first case it works, because he said me achshav. In the second case not. But again, this has nothing to do with the yivama and the yavam. In that case, it doesn't work at all, because as we explained, it's not biyadai. It's not within his ability. It's not within his koyach to make a kinyan at this premature state. Let's go back to the basic halacha. Can a yavam sell his departed brother's nechasim? They asked Ula the following question: suppose yavam, he did a yivim. He was actually miyavim yibim va'achakachiluk, and then he gave away. He divided, perhaps with his brothers. He gave away some of the assets. Those assets which came to him from his departed brother, which are really meant to be committed and mishubad to ensure the Yavama's ksuba payment. Ma'u, what is the halacha? Answer is, le'asav le'klum, worthless. He has no ability to sell it. It's mishubad to the ksuba. What if chilek v'achakach yivim? First he gave the stuff away and then he decided to do yivam. Ma'u, what is the halacha in that case? Well, it seems pretty simple. In the first case it doesn't work. Of course, in this case, he doesn't have access to the properties yet before yivam. In any case, it was posed as a question. Mahu, what is the halacha? Le'asav le'klum. Once again, same answer, it doesn't work. Maskav l'Rav Sheshes. Why even discuss the second case? Hash to yivim. V'achka achilik. If in the first case where it was post yivam, he did yivam and then tries to give away the nechasim, you tell me le'asav le'klum, it doesn't work even though he already acquired those properties. Well, it's meshubad, he can't give it away. Is there any need to speak about giving it away and then doing Yivam, that it doesn't work? He doesn't even have access to those properties yet. Why even discuss it? Answers the Gemara, you're right. These two halachas, these two cases were not taught, one after the other in the Beis HaMedrash. In which case, it would be pretty obvious. The second halacha is obvious once you know the first one. Rather, it was in response to a story. Shnei Masam Havu. These two responses were responses to incidents that happened. So one question was asked, and then another in response to a story that actually happened. And in both cases, the answer was negative. Ki asur Ravin, Amar Rish Lakish, Ben Yivim v'achach Chilek, Ben Chilek v'achach Yivim, le'osel le'klum, it doesn't work, and that's the halacha, v'ilchasel le'osel le'klum. Continues the Gemara. V'chachamim aymin peres mechabarim l'kaka shaloi. So Reuven passes away childless. Rachel the Yevama is waiting for Yibam with Shimon. There are some properties coming off Reuven's assets with peiros that are still unpicked, still growing. The Mishnah seems to say any peiros that are still in the ground belong to Shimon. The Yavam asks the Gemara, Amai, why? Why would that be so? All of Reuven's, the departed brother's properties, his property is unpicked fruit, whatever is there, is all part of his estate. They're achroin, they're arvoin, they're responsible, they're meant as guarantors, so to speak, luksubasa. For Rachel's ksuba, Shimon doesn't own these things. Amrish Lakish, Tni Shalom, we revised the girs instead of Shalom, it's Shalom, you're right. It's meant for her to back up her ksuba. The Mishnah continues, Kansa, once Shimon does Yivam with Rachel, Harik Ishta, she's considered his wife. So what's the point of saying that? Two halachas. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, Loimar. This tells us Shemegar Shebeget. Firstly, after Yibam he decides to separate, he gives her a get, as opposed to doing chalitza. Chalitza is no longer applicable once he does Yibam. Now she's a regular wife who gets divorced via a get. Number one. Number two, umachzira. Should he divorce after the Yibam, he can retake her. Asks the Gemara, Megar Shebeget Pshita. Do you need to tell me that he divorces through a get? Why would I think otherwise? Answer is yes. Ma'odotema, perhaps I would say, V'yivma amarachmana. Pasuk says that the Yavam does Yivam, L'kacha loy l'isha v'yivma. Perhaps that tells us, V'adayin yivuvmin harishayim aleh. Right? V'yivma amarachmana tells you that even after Yivam, she's still considered, she's labeled a Yivama. And therefore, if he wants to divorce, a get is not sufficient. You need to do chalitza like a regular Yavama. Kamash B'lan, the Chiddush is no. And Rashi explains, because the Pasuk adds the word li'isha, or l'kachale li'isha, to tell you that we consider her like a regular wife going forward. The next halacha was machzira. After Yibam, he divorces, he can retake her. Pshita, why not? No, the tema, perhaps I would say. Mitzvah de Ram Rachman Alei, the mitzvah that the pasuk applied to the Yavam, he fulfilled it. He did the Yivam. And now decides to separate. Okay, she's back an Eishes Ach. The fact is, she was an Erva to begin with. She was married to his brother. And going forward, take him Oleo B'Eishes Ach. We should consider her Aser to him, like an Eishes Ach. He cannot retake her. Kamash B'lan, the Chiddush is no. We're not concerned he can retake her. Well, how do you know that's true? Maybe, in fact, this Svara is correct. He can't take her back. Amakro. That's why the pasuk says leisha. The process of Yibam makes her his wife. Kivan shalaka. Once he acquires her through Yibam, nasas kishtei, she's considered his wife for all practical purposes. Now, Tosfos points out there was no room to even think that a Yavam with the Yavama can only live together a short period. After the mitzvah, he has to separate. No question about that. Tosfos says it's a svara. A Torah didn't mean do Yivam and divorce right away. So that's readily understood that he can stay living with her as long as he wants. But once he divorces, perhaps that's a whole new, starts a whole new slate. Who's to say he can retake her? Pasuk tells you, yeah, she's a regular wife, he can retake her. Ubelvad. There's one difference. Typically, a husband commits to his wife's ksuba, but not a yavam. She collects from Ruvain's properties. My time of why? Isha hiknu lo min hashamayim. Answer is, she's not the yavam's wife. She was granted him min hashamayim. It's a shidduch made in heaven. So why is Shimon responsible? He says, look, I'm not responsible for this. And therefore, she must collect from Reuben's properties. But he plays backup. V'iles lamarishan. If there are no assets available from Reuben, Islam Yisheni, then Shimon has to back it up and secure the ksuba. Why? Kedei shaloi tehei kalabein of loyitzia. We don't want him to take this marriage lightly and divorce her with ease. So if there's nothing from Reuben, he has to commit to the ksuba payat, which will make it more difficult for him to just let go of her. Mishnah continues. Lo yoymar lo harei ksuva seich. So, a husband, let's say the yavam, he shouldn't be designating, monies for the ksuba. Rather, everything that he has from Reuben is meshubot for the ksuba. And the Mishnah continues, v'chein, this is back on the payment base, v'chein, likewise, any husband and wife should not be doing this type of arrangement. Look, this is your ksuba, and now, I'm taking everything else and selling and buying, and they're not committed to your ksuba. You shouldn't do that. My v'chein. Why does the Mishnah have to add all the same halacha that applies to a yavam applies to a regular husband and wife? Well, why would I think that a regular wife is worse off than a yavam, than a yavama? Answers the Gemara, perhaps I would think there's a difference. Hasam, by a regular yavam and yavama, the reason why he shouldn't be designating specific, assets or monies for the ksuba, which would technically free him, perhaps, free all the other assets, allow him to deal with them. He shouldn't do that. Because in that case, yavam, he never actually personally committed. Kanoi kanina is a standard clause in the person's ksuba. I commit all my assets. The kanoi, the ones that I had already acquired, the kanina, and the ones that I will acquire. So typically, standard procedure is that a husband commits all his assets, present and future assets, to his wife's ksuba. That doesn't happen by the yavam, as we explained. The yavam is not personally committed. Right? The ksuba is typically taken from Reuben's assets. So since he didn't actually go and write this nusach, so by him taking monies and designating those monies for his wife's yavama's ksuba, it creates an uneasy feeling. She doesn't feel safe and secure that she'll ever get her ksuba, just in case these monies disappear. So it's not a good idea to do this. But in the case of a regular husband and wife, the kanina, since he personally committed, all my current and future assets are committed to your ksuba, it's a big deal. Let him designate some monies, because in any case, she knows she's semich, she's fully secure and reliant on the fact that she will have where to collect from. So it's no big deal to do this. Kamashman, the chiddush is don't do it. The Gemara later will tell us why not. Tosfos is mashma that even when he's miyached, when he designates funds for the yavama's ksuba, it doesn't really help. He still cannot go ahead and sell the rest of the assets that he got from Reuben. He doesn't really free up the assets because everything is committed to her ksuba. The Mishnah continued, Girsha, ein lo elo ksubasa. So back to the yavam, who, as we just explained, all his assets, all the assets that he got from Reuben are committed to the yavama's ksuba. But once he divorces her, that's it, the deal's gone. He divorces her and takes her back. All she has is a regular ksuba, 200 zuz. And now he's free to sell all the assets. Because that halacha that everything is meshubed is only upon yibum. But once he's done yibum, he divorces her, it's over. Even if he retakes her, it's a new slate, a new deal. The nechasim that he got from Reuben are no longer committed to her ksuba. Gerisha in, only because he did Gerisha. Because he divorced her and started fresh. Loy Gerisha loy, but otherwise. There's no way for him to free up the other assets. Kamash Malanka, the Rabba. This is perfectly in sync with Rabbi Abba yesterday, that you cannot go ahead and designate some funds for the Yevama's Ksuba and free up all the other assets. Either it just doesn't work, or as we learned yesterday, because it creates Eva and animosity, she's thinking, okay, he has Gerushin in mind. In any case, it's not something that you do. Hechazira, back to the Yavam and Yevama, he divorced, and now he remarries again. She's like a regular wife. That what? Typically, when Reuben divorces Rachel and retakes her, she's not entitled to a new ksuba. Let's say he divorced her and didn't get a chance to pay her the ksuba, and then remarries. Does she get double ksuba? One pertaining to first divorce and one pertaining to the upcoming divorce? Lo yaleinu? No. It's one chiv ksuba. That's the presumed mindset. I take you back, we're back to the old deal. It's all inclusive. And likewise, the Yevama, we say hechzira, hari kachal anoshim, ve'ena l'ksubasa, you take her back. She has the same din as like a regular isha. You don't give her a new ksuba. Rather, it's all included in the first ksuba. And in fact, the Tesis Rid is mashma, that by a Yevama you have an added chiddush. Even if he actually already paid her the ksuba. He was miyabim, divorced her, paid her the ksuba, and then decides to retake her, there's no new chiv ksuba. Rabbi Chanan Wasserman asks, he says, the whole point of the ksuba is to avoid divorce, to make it more difficult to divorce. They're living together the second time around without any ksuba commitment. But it appears from the Gemara that the Yom could say, he can sort of claim that this is not really my personal choice. This was min hashamayim, I'm just continuing. Even though I divorced, I took her back, it's sort of a continuation of the same relationship, in which case the ksuba commitment is directed at my brother's assets. And I don't need to undertake my own ksuba commitment. Hechzira, my kamash malon, says the Gemara, well, he divorced and took her back, you're telling me it's one chiv ksuba? Of course, Tanina, we already know that halacha from the regular case of a husband and wife. Hamagarish says, Isho machzira, almanaska suba rishayna machzira. When a husband divorces and retakes her, he's not committing to a new ksuba. It's included in the first ksuba. Why would I have to mention this halacha by the Yevama? Once we already know it by a regular husband and wife. Perhaps there's room to differentiate. Ishtahu de iu kasav lo ksuba minei. By a regular wife. Iu kasav lo ksuba minei. Since Reuben himself personally wrote his own ksuba, so I can understand, when I take her back, it's all included in that commitment. There's no new ksuba commitment the second time around. Aval yivimta, but by the Yevama, it's different. The lo iu kasav lo. Since the Yavam himself did not commit personally, as we explained before, the ksuba is sort of riding on the departed brother's back. So maybe that only applies to the first time around, first marriage. But heicha the gorsha v'ahadra, if he divorces and takes her back, perhaps now it's a new commitment. Eima ksubasa minei, perhaps in this case, he should be giving her own personal ksuba. He's starting fresh. It's his personal relationship, her personal commitment. Kamashmon, the Chiddush is no. The presumed mindset is it's sort of a continuation of the first encounter, in which case it's all included in that chiv ksuba. Now, we explained before that a person should not be miyached, should not be designating certain funds and earmark them for his wife's ksuba. What's wrong with doing that? Amar Yehuda Berishona, because way back, hayu kaisful nebesula masayim u'lalmana mana. They would commit, 200 to the Psula, 100 to the Almana, but they didn't, commit all their properties as backup for the Ksuba payat. Everybody was getting older and older, nobody was marrying. Rashi explains, the women were not comfortable marrying men with that type of insecure arrangement. Maybe we'll never find, he'll never have money, maybe the, Rashi says the Yerushim will hide his money, we'll never get our ksuba. So they hesitated to go get married. Until Shimon ben Shatach came along, he said, he established the halacha. All of the husband's assets are committed to secure one's wife's ksuba. We find the same in a brisa, which describes the whole, historical chain of events. But Rishona, in the early days, from the Besula Masayim, they would commit to the ksuba amount, but they would not really commit all their nechasim to secure the commitment. Nobody would marry. They established they would actually take some funds and put it sort of in a trust fund in her father's home. This way she knows she's safe and secure in terms of her ksuba collection. But it didn't really provide a proper solution. You know why? And still, if he would get upset at her, he would just simply tell her, go on, go, that's it, bye. Go find your ksuba in your parents' home, because he didn't really feel the loss. Since he had already given away that money, it was out of his hands. So it defeated the purpose. The ksuba is meant to prevent divorce and not encourage it. So what did they do? They decided they would designate some funds, but they would leave it in his house. Rashi says Beis Chamia, in the home of her father-in-law, basically the husband's home. So it was designated, so this way she's secure, but it was still in his possession, in which case he would feel the loss, he would have to pay it out. And what did they do with that money? Ashirois, wealthy women, whose ksuba was very large in some, they would convert it into gold or silver baskets, and it would be lying around as a sort of a guarantor of the ksuba. Aniyos, the less wealthy families, they would use the ksuba to purchase a vessel used for using the washroom. And this is actually a copper vessel. In any case, it was sort of converted into an item and an object which was designated for her potential ksuba. But still, it defeated the purpose. Still, if you would get mad at her, he would tell her, take your ksuba and go. You see, even though it was there and he could perhaps use it, but it was already laid out. The money was already laid out. So he wouldn't really feel the loss upon sending her out. And that goes against the grain of the whole concept of ksuba, to make it difficult to divorce. Until he came along with Tikkun, he established the ideal arrangement. He would commit to her in writing, instead of designating and being miyachad. No, don't do that. Just commit a general commitment. All my assets are committed to her ksuba. Leave it as such. This prevented divorce, and this gave her full security. I can access any of his properties, and he would feel a loss upon divorce, and that prevents divorce. Let's quickly recap today's daf. We started with a story, a younger brother not forgetting the older brother getting the nechasim. He says, okay, I'll split it with you. It didn't work. The Gemara concluded, a yavam can never give away any of the assets which are committed to the yavama's ksuba. Okay, yavama does yivam. He could be megarisha with a get if he wants. He could even retake her afterwards. Her ksuba goes al nichse bala rishon, but if there's no assets from Ruvain, the departed brother, then Shimon the yavam has to back up with his own assets. We learned that if he takes her back, whether yavama or regular isher, she only gets one ksuba, the old ksuba, and the ideal way of committing to the ksuba is saying kol nechasai achroin l'ksubasa hadron lacha isha. All the best to you and psuras tevis.